is something you won't be saying if you see the new Super Mario Galaxy movie. It'll be more like a, it's not amazing, but it's not nearly as bad as a lot of people are claiming that it is. Well, I say not nearly as bad, but that's a bit too generous. It is almost as bad as some of the reviews claim. It's not very good, is the point. And this is coming from someone that liked the last Mario movie, even though a lot of people like to spit and shit on it for being like too simple and not, great movie overall. I'm just okay with that because it's a fucking Mario movie. I'm fine with it being simple. It was entertaining, and I think it did what it needed to do to be enjoyable for anyone. Like, not just for kids. Like, even families, I think, could go there and just have a good time. Like, the parents wouldn't, be miserable. With Super Mario Galaxy, though, I think adults will be miserable. Kids probably won't care because this is Jingling Keys, the movie. That's how a lot of people are describing it. It's very accurate. This movie is all over the place, just constantly going nuts to butts here with cameo. Here's plotline, we're abandoning this plotline for new plotline, and then coming back to this one, just all over the place. It's a jumbled mess. But there's no doubt in my mind this is easily going to gross over $1 billion, and I'm confident kids are going to love it. As I said, it is just a movie where it is just always go, go, go. Here's thing happen, and then thing solve, so new thing can happen to then instantly solve to get to next thing that happened. Without a whole lot else there. So I'm very confident that kids are going to really like the film, and I also think if you're just a big fan and just want to see, Mario on the big screen again, you're not going to give a shit if it's not a typical good film per se, because it's going to show you a lot of things that you'll recognize and get excited and hype about, like a 2D segment where you'll be like, oh fuck, I remember playing something that looked just like that on my Game Boy, and look at how many things are happening in that over there. It's all colorful, and the animation is extremely good. This is what I wanted. And then that's nothing wrong with that. All power to you. But that being said, it's not an amazing film, and there's nothing wrong with pointing that out. Yes, it is clearly designed for a young audience. This, I think, is even more of a kids' film than the last Mario Brothers movie was. But that doesn't mean that you still can't point out some of its flaws. There's nothing wrong with that. So anyway, let's just go ahead and backwards long jump here into the review. There's going to be spoilers. Fair warning if you care about that for this movie. So I'll give you the big compliments. I'll give you a little bit of glaze here. I think the animation is beautiful. I think it is visually very nice to look at, and I think the action pops. So when there's a fight between Bowser Jr. and Mario and Luigi and Yoshi, it's pretty enjoyable. By far the biggest superstar here, the real, shining standout is the music. I liked the music in the first Mario movie, and I actually like the music in this one even more. They fucking crush it on the score here. They take iconic Mario tracks, and they remix and fucking reflaffitate those puppies, and they sound great here. They're recognizable but different, and they fit so fucking well in the movie. It is the best part of the movie is the music. And those are the only two real compliments I can give it. So, let's start with something I've already briefly dropped some breadcrumbs on, which is just how messy the structure is. There are multiple times in this film where it introduces a plot element and then abandons it. So a big thing is in the beginning, Bowser's turning a new leaf. He's getting more in touch with his emotions. He starts becoming friends with Mario, Luigi, and Yoshi. Yoshi gets introduced very early into the film. They become best buds, inseparable immediately. Bowser is, he's been hit with Mini instead of Wumbo, but then eventually gets Wumbo-ized, and he still is buddies with the crew. And Mario's, of course, skeptical, but Bowser actually makes a pretty big sacrifice in order to protect Mario, Luigi, and the gang. And then, immediately after making that sacrifice, where he has to work in the mines, Bowser Jr. just abducts him. And then the second he gets abducted, he's like, those are my friends. And Bowser Jr.'s like, yeah, but friends are a weakness. He's like, you know what, you're right. And then that's it. That's the end of that whole thing that they just spent I don't know, a good 15 minutes building up, and you think it's going to play a role and be something that they teeter around with. But no, it just completely gets abandoned. They wipe their ass with it. It's just like that. He goes, oh, you're right. Friends are cringe. And then that's the end of it. It doesn't come up again at all in the film. And there's a couple other examples of things like that where they introduce something or a plot element only to immediately get rid of it. That's just the most egregious. And another thing that keeps happening in this movie is that something will happen and then it's like this big problem. For example, this has already been spoiled. I can't believe they dropped this before the movie came out. Fox McCloud is in this movie. Actually would have been a super hype reveal if I didn't see all the press about Fox McCloud being in this film. But he's here. He's probably the coolest character they introduce. And Fox McCloud is taking them to the planet that Rosalina's been captured. And on the way there, things kind of go tits up and they end up crashing on another planet that seems like it's going to be a huge hurdle. Like, oh no, the spaceship is kaput. Yeah, it went kablooey and now we're stuck here. What are we going to do? But then luckily, Luigi did like a single 5-second broadcast that the Rosalina's children picked up on, and here they come scooting in sideways right to this planet in the middle of fucking nowhere. They just come right in. Fox takes the ship, and then they go like maybe 2 blocks in the solar system to planet Bowser, which is a brand new planet that luckily is only a tiny little stroll away, just literally like maybe 25 feet away from this planet that they've crashed on, and now they have a ship so they can go there and do the final fight. It's just a whole movie that feels like it wants to speed run through things to make you point at the screen and go, oh, I recognize that. But nothing really connects. Like, there's some characters in here that you'll recognize from the games, maybe some boss fights, I don't want to spoil any of those, but they're in here as little cameos, but utilized in such a small capacity that it feels like such a sad, disappointing waste of these characters, where they're there for literally like a split second or a single scene, and then never utilized again. Like, a couple of the Easter eggs they put there were cool, but then they have entire characters that you'll know from the games that feel like they probably should have had a bigger role to play, but instead are just binged for the sake of showing like, oh, on the casino planet, they shot a couple of spitballs. And now they're gone. It's just, I don't know. It feels like it just wants to run through everything that you'll recognize from the games without having it actually flow in any way. Whereas the last Mario Brothers movie, even though it was like simple, it did feel like we got like a cohesive journey. At times, maybe it stumbled a little bit, but here, this movie is just always like, and then they go here. And then they teleport here. And then they get hit by a baby blaster, a baby ray that turns Mario and Luigi into babies, and they crash onto a dinosaur planet, but then they get rescued immediately, and then they go to planet Bowser right away. It's just, I don't know, nothing to me really flows at all, so it's just disjointed, and it leads it to just feeling like really hollow and just trying really hard to capitalize off you being like, oh, I recognize that, how cool. And like I said, there are a couple Easter egg moments that are cool. Again, Fox McCloud, if it wasn't already spoiled for me, would have been like a very shocking surprise to see in this film. And he is cool in this movie. He doesn't have a lot to do. I'll go ahead and spoil that. He has like very little to do. Like, he does like a bit of space combat, gets hit with the baby blaster, they crash on the dinosaur planet, and then he drives them to planet Bowser. He has maybe like 8 or 9 lines, if that. So it's like very little that he has, but I mean, he is a cool presence there. But like I said, it's just one of those things where it feels like they wanted to shoehorn in as many things as possible that you would recognize from their properties. So like even Game & Watch is here for like a very brief appearance in a fight. But you want to know who's not really here, and it's very odd decision? Rosalina and Lumos, by extension. It's a Super Mario Galaxy movie with very, very little Rosalina in it. Like, I actually think Fox McCloud has more screen time. I haven't checked the stats or anything on it. I would wager Fox McCloud, who is a supporting character, but also, like I said, doesn't have a whole ton to contribute here. I still think Fox McCloud has more screen time and probably more lines than Rosalina. Very odd choice, I'm going to tell you right now. I don't really know what that decision was. Anyway, no real reason to keep yapping about it. It's not an amazing movie. I don't think it's as bad as a lot of people are saying it is, but it's still not very good. I think it is a big step down from the last Mario Brothers movie, though. Anyway, that's really about it. See ya.